So then Nettie showed up and Phil left for sabbatical. So Nettie, you jumped in about July-ish.
Just after the 4th of July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you jumped in and what did you jump into when you got here?
I jumped into online worship with this team and jumped into not being able to meet anybody really, except for, and this is, I think, why this event means something to me, that weekend of making jambalaya. The thing that was so incredible about that is that it does take 2 whole days to make. I guess it was about 100 servings of jambalaya. Saturday of that weekend was spent picking chickens. That's basically what I did, is pick chickens. And it was good because I could meet folks and we had some nice conversations. We were all staying apart from each other, and yet we were working together.
It was about this time that we launched the Sacred Ground curriculum.
Yeah, I think in response to the killing of George Floyd, it was kind of this like call and a wake-up call for us to address racial injustice as a community. And so Danny, as we're thinking about what can we do to be responsive to this, Danny brought us this opportunity through the Episcopal Church called the Sacred Ground series, which is a faith-based dialogue series that takes place over 10 sessions, that's geared towards both like learning the history of racism in our country, and then also the history of like the Episcopal Church's response to that, and then kind of ask the question of like, how do we form beloved community with all of this, and take action on that.
So this was another one of those things that we were like, can we even do this? Is this even possible right now? And we were like, yes, like talking about racial justice is something we have to do right now. We're going to make this happen. And we did.
Yeah, we tried to be as thoughtful as we could with it. And I think along the way there were like some mistakes. And I think it really opened up what feels like the beginning of like long-term deep work to look at this, and like looking at our like racial makeup as a church.
And Jamie, you also started doing your biographies that I thought were so fascinating.
That's true. Yeah, that was, so I've started doing these Composer of the Week biographies every week, and that was partly inspired by a desire to not just buy and perform music by Black and Indigenous and people of color, but to learn about them, to learn about the contexts from which these pieces come and the meanings that they've held, and so just find more about the people that produce this music.
Then what was it, like September, I have the 8th in my mind, was the day that we got Maggie here finally, and then Phil returned from sabbatical. Welcome, Maggie.
Hello, thank you. Good to be here.
Hi, Maggie.
So, I mean, we have this really crazy dynamic with Nettie and Maggie, that they happen to know each other from Cincinnati and lived on the same street, same block, same neighborhood.
Very close. Very 5 houses away.
But it was about this time that we said goodbye to Nettie. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
joining us.
It's wonderful to be with you.
I will speak for myself and say that I was just beyond thrilled that we had this full team in action. We launched into the parish retreat in September.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good time. I didn't know what to expect, and I knew that it was not like the full complement of people that usually attend the parish retreat, but I felt like it was a manageable amount of people for me to get to know in one weekend. So I was grateful actually that it ended up being a little smaller.
So over the summer, it was like, is the parish house going to get torn down? Is the whole project going to fail? There were about 2 times during the summer where our junior, senior warden, Joe and Tony, were like, it's not going to happen. This thing isn't coming through. And then like 2 days later, like it's actually going to happen. The parish house was supposed to be gone by the time Phil got back.
And then I came back into town and I drove past Cedar in Oxford, and there it was, still standing. And for as long as we waited for it to come down, it actually came down in a hot second.
Yeah. Phil and I were in a meeting and we got a call. Steve, the bookkeeper, was at church, and he said, get up here now, because this thing is going down in like an hour. So we biked up the hill real quick and then filmed the Soulcast on site.
And so Maggie, but had one of the more challenging entries I think you can have as a priest in a community. Because it's always a challenge to enter into a new community and to a role and all that. But like to do that and not be able to actually talk to anybody, not be able to see them on a Sunday. And Maggie jumped in with both feet and has been rocking it from the first day she got here in Berkeley. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it's a really weird time to start a new job, but
So once Maggie got like kind of in and going, almost a year after Whitney Wilson had shown up for a like part-time, 3, 4, 5 month gig, we finally said, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can now go back to the rest of your life.
It was such a blessing, I think, for me to be at All Souls during COVID. I can't kind of imagine what that time in my life would be like if I hadn't been part of All Souls. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I was very fortunate to be there.